What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get very optimistic about this Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons have a crucial game tonight against the Orlando Magic, as they are currently sitting in the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference and the Magic are sitting in the 7th. In this video, we are going to go through, talk about 3 things that I will be keeping a close eye on and observing tonight. We'll talk about what I think the ticket to winning the game will be and just kind of give some general preview notes. So the first thing that I'll be paying close attention to actually has to do with the Magic more than it does the Pistons, which is rare for these preview videos, but I feel like this is pretty important. And that is just going to be the overall health and capability of this Magic team. The Orlando Magic are a pretty solid team. I'm probably lower than consensus on them, even at full health. But the thing is they've been riddled with injuries. They have been without Paolo Banchero for the better half of the year. Franz Wagner just returned to action last game, and Jalen Suggs is questionable for tonight. Those 3 guys are probably their 3 best players, and most of them, or all of them, have not been healthy for the majority of the year, and they're all just kind of ramping up as we speak. The Magic have lost 5 games in a row. They've also lost 7 of their last 8. So they're playing the worst basketball that they've played in a long time, a lot due to these players just getting back into the rotation or not playing at all. So I will be very interested to see, how does Paolo look tonight? How does Franz look tonight? Does Jalen Suggs play? Because I think that stuff could definitely swing this game in either direction. I think that if they play the same way that they've been playing over the past couple weeks, we should be looking at a pretty easy win. But all 3 of those guys are talented enough that any moment they can come out and look like all-stars. So that's going to be something that makes things pretty interesting. The Magic just lost to the Portland Trailblazers, and then the game before that, they lost to the Toronto Raptors. So they have been losing to bottom feeders. Both of those games were by more than 15 points. So it's just going to be interesting to see, because if they bring that type of energy that they brought when they just got smoked by Portland by 22 against the Pistons tonight, I've got a feeling we could really have our way with them. So moving on, the next thing I will be paying close attention to is going to be, can Isaiah Stewart continue to be an amazing rim protector as he's been all season, and especially as of late, because the Orlando Magic will be looking to get to the rim. It's no secret the Orlando Magic are not the best 3-point shooting team in the league. They tried to address it a bit this summer by going and signing KCP to add some shooting to their current roster. But even after adding KCP, the Orlando Magic still are pretty much towards the bottom of the league in 3-point attempts, 3-point makes, 3-point percentage. So I think that Isaiah Stewart could play a big role in this game by protecting the rim, which will just simply limit overall points for the Orlando Magic. It's the NBA in 2025. I'm not naive in the fact that any team on any night can get hot from the 3-point line. Even the worst shooting teams in the NBA can do that. But the Orlando Magic are definitely not known to do that. So they'll definitely be trying to score in the paint, as they typically do. And Isaiah Stewart has shown all year long that he is a much better rim protector than I ever thought he could be. So if Isaiah Stewart is able to contain guys like Franz Wagner at the rim, contain guys like Paolo at the rim, and also not allow their bigs like Wendell Carter to get easy bunnies, I think that we could potentially hold this Magic team to a pretty low point total. So moving on, the next thing I will be paying attention to is, can Cade take over? I could probably make this on the list of every preview video I make for rest of the year, and I think it has been on the list for probably the last 4 or 5, but that is because Cade taking over games is something that has become very normal for us Pistons fans to watch, and when he does it, it completely swings the game. You go back and think about that game against the Rockets on Monday. It was a nice lead that we built at the start of the game, and then the Rockets chipped back into it, and by halftime it was tied up. Halftime comes and goes. Cade comes out of the locker room, takes over. Pistons are up by 15. They don't look back rest of the night. situations and moments like that have became all too common for Cade Cunningham this year. It's been awesome to watch, and the fact that we have a guy who can instantly just snap his fingers, flip a switch, and take over a game is an absolute blessing. So always going to be paying attention to see if Cade can do that, and I also think that that will probably be one of the biggest tickets to win as well. So talking about the tickets to win, it's going to be a couple things, and it's stuff that we've already talked about. Normally, try and make it a little bit different, but this is really what it's going to come down to. Do the Magic play the way that they have played the last week, where they lost to Portland, where they lost to Toronto, where they lost to Denver, by big point margins? If they play that way, the Pistons will be able to win this game just playing regular Pistons basketball that we have seen this year. If the Magic start to take steps in the right direction and they're playing better basketball than they have in a while, I think the ticket to win then becomes, can Cade take over the game? And when Cade goes to the bench, can the Pistons find a way to score points? Cade obviously can't play 48 minutes a game, and ever since Jaden Ivey has gone down, all of those non-Cade minutes have been rocky. But it seems like every time I start to doubt the non-Cade minutes, a guy like Marcus Sasser shows me that he's more than capable. Malik Beasley reminds me why he is in the top 5 running for 6th man of the year and gets hot and carries the offensive load. Or Tobias Harris shows that he can still go get a bucket by himself on occasion. So I really think that's what it's going to come down to tonight, assuming that the Magic play at least mostly up to their capabilities. I think it's going to come down to Cade minutes while Cade's on the floor, him going on a run at one point or another, and when he is off the floor, just sustaining and finding ways to score enough to be able to fend off the Magic for those 12 minutes or so that he will be on the bench. But outside of that, it's just a really important game tonight because, well, a couple different reasons. Number one is the fact that the Eastern Conference standings, where the Pistons are located in the 6th seed, are very tight right now. The Pistons are now 1 game up on the 7th seed as the 6th seed, and they're also very close to the 5th seed for the Indiana Pacers. And since the Magic are in the 7th seed, 1 spot below the Pistons, you might as well say this game counts as double, because if the Pistons are able to get a win tonight, that also means that the Magic have to take a loss, furthering the gap between the Pistons and the Magic in the standings. And then outside of that too, obviously always a little bit of an underlying storyline of the Magic being another team that was right there with us when we started our rebuild in 2021 when we got the first overall pick and drafted Cade. They were right there at the top of the lottery. They picked, 5th and took Jalen Suggs, I believe, that draft. And then the year after that, the Magic were at the top of the lottery. They got the first pick. Paolo, of course, went number 1. Pistons had 5th that year, drafted Jaden Ivey. So the Magic are right there with us in the regards that they are a young team with a superstar number 1 overall pick, Paolo and Cade. They're also defensive oriented. They've had a little bit more success last year than we were able to find, of course, but we're right there on the same kind of runway as they are. So I always find these games to be interesting, kind of the same deal with the Rockets. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Should be a fun one tonight. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch up soon.